Good morning and welcome to Photoshop tutorials. First of all, you need to open Photoshop. Where you can do that is come down to the bottom left corner. And click the start. I already have Photoshop saved onto my start menu, which would be right here. If you don't have that, you need to come over to the bottom right corner and go to search. You can type in Photoshop right here, or you can just go right here to the 64-bit Photoshop, click on it to open Photoshop. Now what you need to do is find where all the files are, so I minimized that. You need to go to the computer up here, top left corner, double click, open up your Student Groups J drive, open up Career and Technical Education folder, open up the Swartz R folder, and open up Resources. In here you go to Media Production, and here you need to go to Class Files. Then go to Photoshop Revealed Book. We will not be doing all of these chapters, so don't get too worried. We're going to be doing a few. We will start off with Chapter 1, so double click on Chapter 1. And you're going to open PS 1-4. So go ahead and open that up. It's going to open up in Photoshop. And the first thing you have to do when you open these up is do a File, Save As. Because we're going to change where this is going to save. Right now it's saving right here. Computers, it's saving. Mine's already been changed. So yours is going to say something different. What you need to do is go to Computer, go to the C drive, go to your name. You're going to go to the Photoshop folder, and you're going to go to Chapter 1 that you created. If you did not create a chapter yet, or folder, you just create right here, create new folder, and label it Chapter 1. I've already saved it. So what you're going to do is type in right here, Chapter 1, your first initial and your last name. So R. Swartz would be mine. So go ahead and type that in. I'm not going to because I already saved it. So I'll just click that and Chapter 1, R. Swartz. Click Save. Mine says, do you want to replace? Yours will not do this. I'm just going to go ahead and say yes. Say OK. And now you have Photoshop open. You have your project open. A few things about Photoshop. Over here you have all your tools that you're going to use. Up here again you have all your menus that you can be using, that we will use. And over here you have some different windows that you can use and open. One you will be using a lot of is your layers window, which is right here. And this is your layers. First thing you have to do is learn how to turn things on and off. So like the frying pan, if I don't want to see it, I would click the eyeball and it turns off. So I can turn the frying pan on and off. So that's one little feature that you'll be using. This first button, let's go back to the tools over here. This first button is just the arrow cursor key. The next one is a selection tool, and anything that has this little tiny arrow in it, you can click and hold down and select a different object. For instance, you can do the rectangular, elliptical, single row, or single column. I'm going to go ahead and hold down and get rectangle. So what I can do is I can select something just by holding down. So you click, drag down, and let go, and you can select something. So now I would go back to this selection tool here, and I can come over here and I can cut. See how I cut the top of that bottle off? If I do a Control-Alt-Z, that does an undo, so it takes it back to the original state. Now if I go to click the skillet over here, so whatever layer I am on, that's the layer that is active. So right now the skillet is active. See how you have the little scissors? I can cut that part of the frying pan out. Okay, so do a Control-Alt-Z. That undoes it. So if you notice, the oils layer went back to being selected. I want to go to the kitchen experience. So now if I move this, see how it's moving the entire thing, you can't cut text unless you rasterize it, and we'll talk about that later. So anyways, that's a little bit about selection tool. You have your magnetic lasso tool. We'll talk about that a little bit, but not right now. You have your, if you hover over stuff, it tells you what it is. That's the quick selection tool. I use this quite a bit. I'll show you how to do that later on. Crop tool, eyedropper, that's to select colors. Your spot healing brush, this is a pretty neat tool. I'll show you later. Brush tool, clone stamp tool, history brush, your eraser. Gradient tool, if I select this, I can also get the paint bucket. Okay, I'll be using that quite a bit. These tools I don't use much. This is the blur tool. You have the dodge tool. Pen, this is your text, you'll use that a lot. Path selection, we'll use that maybe a few times, not much. Rectangle tool, if I hold it down, I can get another object. This is basically just creating like a block. So if I want this object, I can come over here. To get rid of this dotted line, you want to do a Control D. That takes away. But anyways, let's go back to creating this object. So I create a black square. If I want to fill it differently, I can come over here and change it to a different color. I can change the line stroke to a different color and do all that. So I'm just going to go Control-Alt-Z, undoes it, takes it away. You have your hand tool. Anyways, this right here is also handy. This black color right here is the color that that is current. It's the foreground. The white color would be the background color. So if I want to switch it, I want the white in front, I click that. So now this is the color that I currently have. If I come up here and I want to use my fill bucket, okay, and I want to fill the background, I can fill it with white by just clicking. See how I went white? Well, let's say I want black. I reverse it and I click black. Let's say I want a different color. I want to double click or just click once and I can click any color I want. I can slide this cursor up and down and I can select any color I want. So I'm going to click that and say OK. Now it's blue. So these are your colors that you're going to be using. You can do that for lots of things, but you just flip this and it switches from foreground and background color. I'm going to do a Control-Alt-Z to get me back to the green, and did that 3 times, got me back to the green. All right, what I want you to do in this Photoshop document is just learning about layers. So basically, turn on the measuring spoons. So you got the measuring spoons on. And what I want you to do is I want you to drag the oils layer so that the content appears behind the skillet. So what you do is you grab the oil layer over here and you drag it behind the skillet. So now you can see that the oils went behind the skillet. And then I want the measuring spoons layer above the skillet. So measuring spoons need to go above the skillet, and now they're in front of the skillet. You see how that happened and what it did? So if I want the skillet to go behind the oils, I just drag that down. And now the oils are in front. But this is how I want it. Spoons in front, then the skillet, and then the oils. And then now your cooking is on the very, very top. So if you notice over here on the right-hand side, these layers, it's like a stack of papers. Whatever is on top is what you're going to see. So the text is what is on top. Then you have your measuring spoons, skillet, oils, and then your background color. So it's just like a stack of papers, and whatever is on top is what you would see. That's all for Chapter 1. You're going to turn this file in by going to File and just do a Save. You want to minimize this. And what you're going to do is open up your Career and Technical Education folder. Go to Computer, Student Groups, Career and Technical Education, Swartz. And I want you to go to Collaboration. And you're going to go to your period, whatever period you're in. So I'm just going to do period 1. And in here, you should have a Photoshop. You should go to the Photoshop folder. And in here, you should go to the Chapter 1 folder. Okay, open that up. Now go find your C drive folder. Go to the C drive. Go to your name. go to the Photoshop, Chapter 1, and in here I have that project. So all you're going to do is just drag and drop the project right into the folder, and now I've turned in my first assignment. That is how you're going to do Photoshop in this class, is follow the videos and turn in your assignments into the collaboration folder right here. Career Technical Education, Swartz R, collaboration, whatever period you're in, and then Photoshop Chapter 1 is where you will turn in all your projects. If it's Chapter 2, you would turn in Chapter 2.